Hello and welcome to the How to Play video for Gonza Index, a fast-paced dice-chucking game where you play as stock traders competing to earn credits from all the spacefaring corporations of the Solar 175 universe. This video will teach you the multiplayer version of the game. However, if you're looking for the rules for solo mode, or you want to incorporate an AI player into a multiplayer game, you'll still need to watch this video first so you get an idea of the basic rules, and then check out this video. So what's the aim of the game? The aim is to have the highest credit total by the end of the game. This can be from a mix of credits you own and the value of your investments. Now let's jump in and go through setup and how to play. Firstly, setup. You first need to shuffle the corporation cards and place the top 8 corporation cards individually face up in a communal area in reach of all players. Each corporation card will need a value marker placed onto the starting space. The remaining corporation cards should be face down in a deck nearby. Then give each player a reference card, and once each player has chosen a colour, place the credit tokens of each player's colour into a general supply. The player who goes first is the one who has most recently earned some money, or randomly. Play will happen in turns, moving clockwise from the first player. Once the first player has been decided, all other players take one of their credits and put it into their personal supply. Remember, all your credits start in the general supply, but as you earn them, they move to your personal supply for you to spend, either investing in corporations or buying cards from brokers. And you may only ever take credit of your own player colour. Next up, the event cards. They need to be shuffled, and 5 are taken into a face-down deck for play in this game in reach of all players. The rest should be placed back into the box. Then the broker card deck needs to be shuffled, and the top 3 cards should be laid face up in the communal area, again in reach of all players. And the remaining broker cards stay face down in a deck. And that's it, all set up. Now let's take a look at how to play. On your turn, roll the 5 communal dice. All 5 of these dice are the same except for the event die, which includes 2 event action icons. You may re-roll any or all of the dice up to a maximum of 2 times. Once you're satisfied with the actions rolled and or you have re-rolled the dice up to 2 times, you begin performing the actions indicated by the dice. You may perform the actions in any order you wish, and you don't have to take the action on a die if you don't want to. It's completely up to you. However, if you don't take the corresponding action, it's just ignored. So what are the dice actions? This icon means that you earn 1 credit. So take 1 credit from the general supply and add it to your personal supply. Simple. This icon means that you can place a stock. So take 1 credit from your personal supply and place that credit onto any available corporation. This credit is now worth the equivalent amount as indicated by the value marker on that corporation card. For example, if you place your credit on this corporation, your credit will currently be worth 2 because you have 1 credit invested there and the value marker is currently on 2. If you had 2 credits placed here, they would be worth 4. Now this can change depending on whether that corporation's stocks go up or down. And just to clarify, 1 place a stock icon equates to 1 stock being placed. So if you roll 2 of these icons, you can place 2 stocks, either on the same corporation or on 2 separate corporations. There's a maximum amount of stocks that can be placed onto a corporation, and this will differ based on player count. If you're playing 2-player, a total of 5 stocks from all players can be placed on each corporation. So let's say I have 4 stocks on this corporation, and then my opponent places 1 stock there on their next turn. That means that now neither of us can put any more stocks onto that specific corporation, unless this changes later down the line by using a broker card, for example. For a 3-player game, the total stocks per corporation is 8. For a 4-player game, the maximum is 10, and in a 5-player game, a maximum of 13 stocks can be placed on each corporation. Lastly, if you roll this place a stock action and you have no credits in your personal supply, then you cannot perform this action. This icon indicates that you can move the value marker of a stock on any corporation up by 1 space. And this next icon indicates the opposite, allowing you to move the value marker of a stock on any corporation down by 1 space. Then there's the bid on a broker card action, represented by this icon. For this action, you can put a credit onto any of the face-up broker cards in order to place a bid. When bids are counted in a broker card auction, I'll go over that a little later, the player who has the most bids on a card adds it to their hand. You can only place 1 credit as a bid on a broker card per bid symbol rolled. And just like the place a stock action, if you haven't got any money, you can't place any bids. Now let's deep dive into the event action. The event action is unique and only available on this die. If an event action is rolled, 1 event token is put onto the event track. When the event track reaches its maximum of 3, then the current player's turn is immediately paused and the top face-down event card is drawn from the deck, and the instructions on that event card are now activated. This card is then discarded and players can see the back of the next event card, which has a clue as to which corporation will be affected next. However, what you don't know is whether this impact will be good or bad. The events will generally affect different types of corporations. There are 4 different types of corporation in the game: financial, resource-based, service, and tech corporations. For example, the banking crisis event moves the value markers of all financial corporations down by 1 space. In addition to this, after activating the instructions on the event card, the broker card auction is also immediately initiated. When this happens, the bids on the face-up broker cards are counted, and the player with the most credits on a card adds that card to their hand. Their bid is paid to the general supply, and all other lower bidders receive their money back, which goes into their personal supply. In the case of a tie, the player who activated the current auction, the one who rolled the last event action, breaks the tie. If equal bids are on a card and neither player was the one to activate the auction, then the card is discarded and all bidding players have their bids returned to their personal supply. Players can never have more than 4 broker cards in their hand. If an auction ever gains a player more than this, they must discard excess of their choice back down to 4. Once the event and broker card auction are complete, the current player can continue with their turn as normal. So how do you play broker cards? Broker cards can be played at any point during your turn. Note that some broker cards have endgame effects and so can't be played until the end of the game. Others can only be played in specific circumstances, for example, just as an event is about to start. These exceptions are written on the cards themselves. Now, after a broker card is played, that card moves to a face-up broker card discard deck. If there are no more cards in the broker card deck, then shuffle the discard deck and place it face down, and this now becomes the new broker card deck. The effects of the broker cards are described on the cards and they can be very powerful. Okay, so what triggers the end of the game? The end of the game is initiated in one of 2 ways. Either all event cards have been activated, or a player takes their last credit into their personal supply. When either of these events occur, the end of the current player's turn is completed and all other players take 1 more turn. Then the final credit scores are calculated. Players can gain endgame credits in 3 different ways. Add them all together to get each player's final score. Number 1, each credit in your personal supply at the end of the game is worth 1 credit. Number 2, each of your credits played on a corporation is worth credits equal to the current value marker location of the corporation it's based on. For example, I have 3 credits on this corporation, and the value marker is currently located on 4. So each of my stocks is worth 4. So I get a total of 12 from this corporation. Yes. Don't forget though, that in some cases these credits can be worth negative points. Number 3, any broker cards you possess which give you endgame credits are also counted. Once all the credits have been counted, the player with the highest amount is declared the winner. In the case of a tie, the tied players take 1 more turn each to decide the winner. If there's still a tie, then all tied players share the victory. And that's all you need to know in order to play Gonza Index. If you have any questions, please comment below and I'll reply to you as soon as possible. See you next time. Bye!